Jelisha. Hey everyone, I'm so excited to be here. I am here with Jelisha Gatling of Let's Unpack Therapy. And I'm so excited to be talking to you guys tonight because we are going to be talking about what it's really like to work with a business coach, and not any business coach, me as a business coach, because I'm filling my Unstoppable Mastermind. And I am always getting questions about what it's really like. How do I really support my clients? And I thought it'd be fun to have the tables turned because I can talk about it obviously with myself, and I can also share lots of my clients' prettied up testimonials with you. But I really wanted to bring someone on who's been through the trenches, who was really kind of quite skeptical about making the investment in business coaching, and really, didn't know what to expect. So I'm excited to introduce you guys to Jelisha. She's amazing. She is a therapist, a couples therapist in New York City. Jelisha, why don't you tell them a little bit about your practice?
Yeah. Yes, my practice is in New York City, as Nicole mentioned. I primarily see couples. I work a lot with infidelity and betrayal. And I've been in practice. I had only been in practice a couple of months before I started working with Nicole. So I was very early in my journey. I had been at a group practice for some time, but I had just ventured out into my own and was straddling that when I was considering working with Nicole. So yeah.
And one of the reasons, like I said, I wanted to bring Jelisha on is because, when she contacted me for business coaching, she was struggling. And actually, typically my mastermind people are a little further ahead, but I always like to choose people, not just based on income, but on drive and desire to succeed in business. So if you are curious about if your business is the right fit for the mastermind, please contact me. Like, I wouldn't make any assumptions on your own about it. And, I still remember my first call with Jelisha because, you were worried that you were a little bit behind. But I could see, and I have good intuition, that you were going to be fine in the group, which you totally were. You had lots of strengths that you brought to it. And, I think also just seeing other people with their wins also kind of gave you some motivation to kind of succeed. And we can definitely go into more later about, what you felt kind of helped you with that, or, how you felt about like kind of getting those results. But I know we worked on some questions. So just, do you want to kind of dive into some questions about,
Yeah, I think it would be good to piggyback off of what you were just saying in terms of being a fit, because I think that was my biggest concern, in that I hadn't been in practice long. I had a couple of clients, like literally a couple, and was just very, very new. And so it seemed that a lot of the testimonials and people that I saw that had worked with you were further along when they came to work with you. And, from what I saw, it seemed like it's mostly about scaling. And I'm like, well, I don't even have a full practice. So like, could you help me? And I've been following your stuff for probably a year. I was reading your stuff. I was getting a lot out of it, but it took me well over a year before I actually reached out. And I'm so glad that I did. But yeah, so I guess the question would be, how do you know that someone is a good fit for the program?
Right. And I think honestly, there's definitely two things is that, I have very limited one-to-one spots. So that definitely always is a possibility if someone is really not going to be able to, be part of a group, or maybe their schedule is different or whatever. But I think that honestly, the way I really assess it is on goals and, desire to really take your business to the next level, and commitment. So when I'm always talking to you on a call, or, even reading some of the questions that I have people answer before a call, it obviously gives me some clarity into their motivation. And, you were obviously in that place where it could go either way. It could go the way of, like you're really going to make this investment. And I knew it was a scary investment for you and you were going to make use of it. And that's really like what's happened to me when I've made investments. It's like, it's always scary. We live in an expensive area, first of all. I'm in New Jersey, right outside of New York City. Jelisha's in New York City. So we are in an expensive area. So it can feel like really intimidating to make that investment. And I take those investments really seriously because I know, just being responsible for all my own expenses and income and everything, you've got to make it work. So I think that, just kind of, I really do take the call as an opportunity to really find out about what is your business. Are you really going to take the actions? Are you in the place where you're going to take the actions to change things and take things to the next level? So I think that's also super, super important. In terms of that piece, in terms of really assessing that on that initial call. And there definitely are times where I won't, I'll say this probably isn't a good fit for you or something like that. But, I do try to typically keep people who have similar goals and drive. I don't focus always so much on the income piece because truthfully, where we are, we can make a lot of income and it doesn't mean as much as other places, so I think that, numbers are important, obviously, but I don't think it's always connected to drive or future opportunity to scale. And I think honestly, like I said to you, you're in a better place if you get this foundation early.
Right. Yeah. I'm so glad that I did. And I think also seeing all the wins of the other women in the group all of them were much further along and had fairly full practices and were working on other ventures and scaling. So just seeing their wins, it was incredibly motivating. Like, this could happen for me. And then also being able to identify with some of my struggles.
Right.
So that was really, really great. But I know another question that I had, and I don't think I didn't ask you this because I was too nervous to, but why is the program 6 months or more? Like, why can't we do a mastermind with you that's a month or 2 months, or can I dip my toe in? That was a big thing for me. It's so scary to commit. What if 3 months in we find out I'm not a fit, or I'm just not ready?
Right. Well, first of all, I like to work with people who are committed to it for the long haul. So, to me personally, it takes time when you're really putting in strong foundations for future growth and not looking for overnight quick hits of, let me launch a quick course and make a couple $1,000, right? And maybe never be able to do that again. When you're really looking for long-term business growth and creating a business that is going to sustain you for years and in the future, I want people who are going to commit for at least 6 months. I don't want people who are only going to kind of do a quick hit. First of all, we wouldn't be able to tackle the things that are going to really let you scale, because we do cover a lot. We cover building an audience. We cover mindset. We cover systems, we cover sort of, being a leader. So it really is impossible to create that strong foundation in 1 or 2 months. Could we do a quick session or a quick intensive and give you a plan? Yes. Obviously that could always be a possibility. That's not something I love, because truthfully, I like to be with my clients for the long haul, where the shit hits the fan after you give the plan. It's easy to tell you what to do, but as crazy as it is and as tough as it is sometimes, I like to be there to support you in that part after, where the mindset comes in, the cracks come up, the up leveling, the upper limit.
Oh yeah.
The stuff that doesn't look like it's related to business. I like to be able to support you through all of that and show you how it is connected.
Yes. I love that you mentioned that, because I feel like a big thing for me, I struggled with letting you in on personal things that were impacting my business. I just very much compartmentalize them. Mm-hmm. And so I remember having a conversation with you a few months in and you were like, what's going on? I think I hadn't been responding, or I kind of just went MIA for a week.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I had a breakup. And you were like, hey, it had happened like what, a month or two before, like it had happened a couple months ago, and I had just been struggling. And I was like, well, I'm not going to talk to you about that. You're not my therapist. Like, that's inappropriate. You're here to help me with my business. And you were like, Jelisha, if it's impacting your business, it is my business. And I was like, okay.
Like, if it's impacting your personal life, I do think it impacts your business.
Yeah.
And I do think there's a lot of coaches that avoid that piece of things.
Yeah, I really appreciated that, but it wasn't something that I thought of early on, but it made total sense. And it really was helpful. So it wasn't a matter of me needing to vent or like, you know, but just like knowing this is impacting my business and I need to take some steps to better cope or manage with that. And just like realizing that connection and that impact was huge for me. And it made it, it was a really big thing for me when we had that conversation.
Yeah. You know, I do think so. I mean, and I think that, you know, that is part of my skill, my unique skill set is that I was a therapist. So I think I see a lot of connections between things that other, you know, business coaches or people running masterminds sometimes miss out on.
Right. Yeah.
I feel like that's where my intuition really comes into play and I can make connections. And also I do remember go post in the group and look for support. Like, you know, there's other people to support you. And I think that is really, you know, what is really special to me about the mastermind is that it really normalizes the business process of building a business.
Yeah, it really does. And because I think a lot of us are walking around thinking it's just me. I'm struggling. I'm bad with time management. I'm lazy. I'm just not a business minded person. I mean, all those narratives were constant for me and were a big part of me struggling with the decision to work with you. Because I was like, you look at these testimonials and you see the growth, and in your mind, at least in my mind, I'm like, okay, she's got it to like, I'm not like her. Like, I like to sleep in. I'm a silly person. I'm not like a super serious, like, I felt like maybe I have to be someone else to succeed. And so it's like, can she help me without me having to be someone that I'm not? And that was like a huge, great takeaway. You really helped me to embrace my silliness and my sarcasm. And those are things that I bring into a lot of my videos and blogs, and people love them.
Right.
You know, the people that are my audience.
You know, I think that's the other piece is like, you were getting that feedback from the other members too.
Yes.
You know, and I think that is one of the things that is, you know, unique in terms of the mastermind versus just one-to-one that I really do think helped you get the big results that you got. Because, you know, for those of you who are on and not aware, Jelisha 10x her income, you know, and that's huge, even though her income was lower to start with. Like 10xing it is huge. Yeah. And she wasn't like killing herself. Like, she was killing herself at like low cost, other income streams, consulting type things. So we kind of got rid of those. So she really was, her time was opened up to in a different way as well. And I think that, you know, being part of the group, you know, got you the feedback, not just from me, but from other people as well, which kind of sped up the process of some of you being comfortable getting visible.
Right. Yeah, completely. Yeah, totally. I mean, I would agree with all of that wholeheartedly with the community aspect, which that was not even anything I was thinking about or looking at as a valuable thing coming in. Right. But it definitely made a world of difference. And I still have those connections in that community. And it's been a year. So yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yes. And I think too, you know, what I love about you, when you did give me a testimonial, which was so exciting to be one of those testimonials that you're like, that can't be me.
No,
you're like, what? And that's why I chose you to do this conversation with me, because I knew you would be honest about it. Like, it is scary. I'm not going to actually act like it's not a scary investment. You know, I was just telling you before we jumped on that one of my other clients, and she actually is not a mastermind client, but she's a one-to-one client. But she goes through the same my unstoppable profit process as you. She like, you know, had second thoughts. Like, we had the call and she really wanted it. But she was scared. And then, she kind of backed out, and then I was like, what's going on? Do you want to talk? She wanted to talk. We talked. She was still uncertain. I was like, look, let me know by the end of the day. It's, it's up to you, because I'm not going to force anyone to make an investment that they're not comfortable with. I'm not going to do anything like sleazy on the call that's like, you need to pay right now or else it's going to increase by $5,000 or whatever, which I've had people do to me. So, it really is like, I want you to make that decision. I don't think it's going to be a comfortable decision. Unfortunately, there's really nothing I can do about that piece. I wish I could. There just really is nothing. It's uncomfortable. And she's same thing too. Like, she backed out, she got scared. It's okay. Like, that's really okay. But she ended up following through on it. And, she's like 8x'd her business too, as well, like more. Actually she's 10x'd it too, because she has gone from like 3K to 30K, and it's just been a constant increase. And, I really love seeing those results. And I love seeing it because, I love seeing it from people who are scared, because I think people who are scared think it can't really happen to them.
Right. Yeah. And I think I was thinking, if I could get half of the results that she's given some of these people, I'd be happy. Like, I think I had much lower goals. And I remember being on the call with you, and I think I basically was like, I need more clients, and I need to make significantly more money. Like, I'm doing all these side gigs and hustles just to pay my office rent. Like, I can't even take care of basic stuff through my practice. And you were like, you need to let go of this job. You need to get out of this space. It's really negative for you. And it wasn't even just about money, but you were so in tune with how it was impacting me and how drained I was in some of the places that I was working. But so a question that's coming up for me now is, how do you balance being supportive and encouraging and pushing people, but also like holding their hand? Like, how do you find that balance to be supportive, but also to like give them a kick in the butt when they need it? Because I feel like we had some really real moments, which I really appreciated and needed at some points, but it wasn't like military style. Like, how do you?
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear it. I never know how it comes out, but I could pull up the military stuff. I think that honestly, I really can read people's personalities. But the truth is too, is like, at the end of the day, you are not paying me or paying for my services for me to make it nice, right? Yeah. And that is like something that is hard on me, because I want to be a nice person. Like, I want to, and sometimes I worry that I'm coming off as mean or direct. And I agree, like, one thing that I remember, there was definitely times where you reached out to me about something, and a lot of times I'm a better talker, so I would do like a video back. Yeah. And I just be like, what's going on here? And I think that like the videos are helpful, one, because like you can see my tone and passion, versus like an email where it's like, do this, this, and this. Yes. That kind of helps me a little bit, because I am a better communicator with talking. Whereas through email, like, I can tell sometimes it just doesn't like read right. So I do try to talk to my clients more, and do videos and stuff like that, versus just kind of writing, where I think it could be, sort of not taken the way I mean it. And I think the other piece is that, once again, at the end of the day, like, when we're connecting and you're talking about your goals and results and you're claiming them, it really is my responsibility on my end to call you out on stuff and to give you the tools and strategies to help you get there. I can't make you do it, although I certainly wish I could. But, I still have to, like, I have to give you that 100%. Which means like, I can't hold back just to make it feel nicer.
Yeah. To make it comfortable. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Comfortable. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so another thing that made me really, I guess, get a little more comfortable as we eased into the process, or probably even just following your emails before I signed on with the Mastermind, was your background, and like you had worked in private practice, and I was really clear that whatever I was gonna invest in, because I knew I needed help, I wanted the the person to be somewhat, have gone through a little bit, or, you know, I don't want just a general business coach, basically.
Right.
And so, you know, you had like that background, but I'm wondering, like, it's always nice to know what brought you to doing what you're doing. Like, what's, you know, why do you want to help women, female entrepreneurs, with their business and scale their income? Like, what, you know, what's behind that for you?
Right. I mean, I think that what it started out with for me was that, you know, I never fit into the work world, even though I presented as I did. I was like a good worker. You know, I did my job. I had good relationships with my team, but like I always felt like there was something missing. And when I did sort of, you know, quit my job and take time to travel, I just knew I couldn't go back to the bureaucratic systems of work, whether it's, I was at a nonprofit, but whether it's corporate or nonprofit, you know, I think that it can be very bureaucratic, and I think that things get stretched out and take a long time. And like, I just like to jump in. And I think that if there were complaints at work about me, it was that people probably were annoyed by my like direct like responses of like, why are we doing it this way when we could do it this way and get it quicker? And like, they don't really like that. And I didn't feel appreciated. And I think that, you know, women entrepreneurs, like we're used to that. We're used, I think as women in general, we're used to not being heard. We're used to being dismissed. You know, we're used to kind of coming in second place to men automatically. So, you know, I think for me, just being, you know, a woman and not having, you know, and seeing that happen again and again and again, whether in like personal life or, you know, work situations, and seeing women come up second, like I just kind of got tired of it. And, you know, ironically, like I was never, like a girl's girl or had like huge groups of girls friends, but suddenly I realized like I was kind of creating that dynamic too by not really connecting to other strong women. And when I started, you know, my own business, and I started doing like group programs, and I realized how important that connection really was. And, you know, I just think that it is like, we're going to solve problems in the world. We're going to do it probably quicker. And we're going to do it with more empathy. And I just think that we deserve the same opportunities.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm happy to take that on, and help you guys fight for it.
Mm-hmm. And so, Nicole, is there anything that that would make you I'm just gonna say it, that would make you like drop somebody from the program? Because that was a fear of mine, and that I wasn't ready, that I just wasn't ready. And what if I get in this and it's too much, or I can't keep up, or I can't finish the assignments, or the women are just, it's just like going over my head. That was a fear of mine. And I said, even deep into it, and even with the progress that I was making early on, I still would have moments frequently where I would think, oh, Nicole's gonna kick me out. She's gonna drop me. She's gonna fire me. I would say that at least once a week to myself, because I would be working on something and feel like, why do I have so many questions? Why am I blocked? Or this isn't good enough? Or if I was late doing something, you know, like I would really beat myself up, and I'd always say, this is the last straw. She's gonna be done with me. So do you ever, like, is there a line?
I mean, I think that honestly, well, as you know, no, there's no line. But like, no, because honestly, like, I think that is also like sometimes, and that's why I can only work with limited clients, is because I give, like, I'm in it with you. I'm in the trenches with you. You know, like I am an empathic person. And as a result, like I can only take on so many clients at a time. And I say that because like, you probably see, like, I really am feeling what you're feeling at the same time. And then like, I don't give up, right? Like, like if you're missing, like I am like, sort of like, what's going on? Where are you? And, you know, it's not just like that I'm popping in that day. Like I'm thinking about it like all week, like, I haven't heard from her, you know, like, so it's hard to not show up, I think, when you work with me. And I mean that in like the nicest way possible. You know, but it really is hard for you to fade. You have to try really hard.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Really hard at being invisible. Like you would have to just straight out like not respond to me repeatedly. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, like it is on you. It isn't so much that, you know, anybody could be successful as long as you're like going to show up. And I think actually Catherine, who was one of the members of our group, was like, if you show up 50% with a goal, like you will get results, which I thought I loved because, you know, I always say give 150, but hey, listen, if you're not getting 50, that's good too.
You know, I think I said, I don't remember the number that I said in my testimonial, but it was something like that. I said, if I had done everything to the degree that like Nicole was pushing me.
Oh yes, you did say something like that.
I would be like living in Fiji, right? Like I would be, I wouldn't have to work. Like I just, it's insane. So I honestly believe if you do even like 60, 70%, and I'm not pushing that, okay? But I'm just saying, if I got those results, I can't even imagine what you could do if you were.
I mean, and you fought it.
It was hard. Yeah, I'm not saying
that was success on a certain level. Like you said, like you really did fight it a bit, you know, in the sense that you did like torture yourself with tasks.
No, I did. And I think also, I mean, it's something that I don't think I really grasped until the end of it, was if I haven't done something, or I'm avoiding doing this assignment or reaching out to these people, or I don't have my goals, you know, set for the week or whatever, that I can pop in and say that and like own it, and it's safe. Like it's safe. You know, you're not gonna, you've never like beaten up on anyone for.
No, I mean, and I think it's more like, okay, like let's just move forward.
Let's explore. What's this about?
Fix this, right? Like, what's going on? Why aren't you doing that? And I do think that once again, like, you know, that is a little different than a lot of other people because they really are just stuck on like, well, you have to do this. Where it is like, well, is this something we can just, and sometimes it isn't, like, it's still stuff you have to do. And, you know, it's still stuff I have to do that I don't want to do. And I am honest about that. Like, there are things you're not going to love in business. And I think that, you know, I think that is less shocking for my clients. And I do think that is why they get results, because it's not like this pretty, you know, Instagram perfect business owner who's like, everything's so beautiful. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, no, there's still shit I don't like to do either.
Yeah. No.
And it is what it is, but I like the results. So I'm going to deal with it.
Right. So like, I mean, normalizing, those struggles. And I mean, even you disclosing and sharing, you know, I never felt like you were like, you need to do this and this is what you need to do. And this is how, you know, it was always like, I've struggled with this too, or I'm struggling with this, you know, still now, even with all the success that you've had. So just normalizing that makes it that much easier to face it, rather than avoid, which I definitely had a tendency to do throughout the program.
But I mean, luckily, I didn't let you do it too long.
Right. But like you notice too, which has meaning in it as well. You know, because you start to think like, there's how many people in the mastermind, and I'm not gonna notice if I kind of don't respond to this question, you know, but you do. And that, you know, that has such meaning. Like you're not going to get lost in the cracks working with you.
Right. Thank you. I mean, and I'm curious, like, what does it feel like for you? Because like, it can be annoying. I can be annoying.
I mean, yeah, it can be annoying. I mean, or just kind of like, she got me. She noticed. Like, and then, you know, that would spiral into feeling guilty and like beating myself up. And that might make me retreat even more. But once we did connect and address it and face it, because I love that you didn't really let it go. Like, and it's not that you were beating me up for disappearing, but like you called it out. And even just, you noticed this pattern that I had, where I would be absent and then I would pop in the group and I would be like, this is happening right now. Everything is catastrophic. How do I deal with it? And you would be like, Jelisha, how, like, what's been happening the past week? Like, this didn't just happen. And it's just like what we tell our clients, right? When they have been like sitting on something, or they're not addressing something with their partner that's been going on for them for a while, and then they just explode. And I was putting myself in those positions, business and personally. So that was like a huge thing for me to recognize, which is something that I wouldn't have been able to probably acknowledge if this program was like a month or something. I think like the 6 months also helps.
Yes, I think that's the other thing with 6 months is, it allows us to see patterns and like go deeper into things.
Yeah.
And I think that really like the reality is that once again, like the people that I want to work with, like you, are not looking for a quick income hit. Like you're not looking to just have, one good month. You're looking for steady income growth throughout the months. So I think that is what's different about my clients versus like other business owners is that, they really do have a purpose, a strong message, a difference that they want to make. And, they want to do this full time. They want to continue to scale and reach more people. Whether they're comfortable with it or not, right? Which is like, I think that's the same thing with me. Like I have that desire. I'm not necessarily comfortable with the fact that I have this desire, but I allow myself to, do it anyway, despite the fact that sometimes I'm like, why, this is hard. Business is hard, entrepreneurship is hard. Even supporting other business owners, like it could be scary sometimes too, because it really matters to me that you guys get results. But I think that's the thing. It's like, I don't want people who just kind of, I don't work the best with people who are like this. I just want to quickly replace my income, or I just want to quickly do this and not, think about the long-term work involved or the long-term plan for your business.
Right. Right. And so as far as after the mastermind is over, or it's the end of that 6 months or whatever, what's it like? I mean, do you just kind of fall off the face of the planet and not really connect with most people, or, is there?
No.
I guess that's a question that I had before. Obviously, I know the answer, but
it's good because other people might wonder. I love my clients. I love to stay in touch with my clients and see what's going on. You know what I mean? And many of my clients like to share with me too that they're still using the strategies that they used, which is important to me to know as well, because I don't want to teach strategies that once again are quick hits.
Right.
I want to teach strategies that are repeatable. And I was just talking to someone about that today, who I was talking about the mastermind with. And, I was like, I don't want you to have to go like spend money on ads every month. I want you to have a strong foundation. Without that, that could be another layer later on. But I want you to, have a strong foundation for your business so that you're not going through the up and down, like the ups and downs, or the roller coaster or whatever. So I think that is also like really, really important to me. And I like to stay in touch with my clients after to just see what's going on. And, obviously like, let's be real, nobody's going to carry anything on 100%. It's hard to do without the accountability, without like the investing sometimes in support. But, I think that if you take a few things that really work for you and continue to utilize them, it's really good. And I love when you tell me like, oh, I'm getting, clients from people I talked to months ago, and you see the like long-term payoff of things. So I love to always like connect with my clients, my old clients, see what they're up to, and just hear about their current projects, or if they get stuck or whatever, I hope you always feel it. And they always feel that they could reach out to me with a question if they needed a referral of someone, or, just kind of needed like, a quick kick in the butt. Yeah. I'm happy to provide it.
Right. Another question I just thought of, Nicole, that, and it's not applicable to me, but it is something that I hear a lot of from colleagues of mine, and even people that I've talked to about working with you who are hesitant. And so maybe it's a common dilemma, if you want to call it that, but like what would you say if someone were to have a call with you and be considering the mastermind, but have trepidation, because they're married or their spouse, like maybe isn't quite on board, or not even just with the mastermind, but just like general decisions. Like I'll talk to some, clinicians who are married and their spouse is not, is not on board with them taking time to do XYZ, or maybe doing less of this. Like, how do you work with clients who are dealing with those sort of scenarios? Like what?
Right. That's a really great question. you know, and of course you're on top of that because you work with couples. And, you know, it's interesting to me because I don't actually have that situation at this point in my business. I get to make all the decisions for myself. So, you know, that has stressed me out on time at times because I'm like, I don't, you know, like this is my business. I started it. Like I wouldn't really, you know, let someone else make the decisions for myself. But actually last week I did talk to a couple's, another couples therapist, about that. And, you know, I did actually talk to her a while ago too, just to make sure that I was giving, you know, reasonable advice to people on that or reasonable responses to people, because it is also hard. I think the one piece for me that's hard that I have to be careful with is that, you know, I'm not, unless your husband's like a official business partner, I'm not actually working with your husband, or wife or partner or whoever, you know, like I'm not working with them. I'm working with the business owner. So, you know, I think that what she said that I really liked was that like, you have to make the decisions for your business for yourself. And, you know, I think that what happens a lot are people are not sure or they're not willing to commit right away. And they go to their partner to kind of help them make the decision. And that's where it gets messy.
Yeah. Yeah. So if they're not really clear or 80-90% sure they want to do it, then
right. And then their partner is kind of picking up on their indecision and, you know, is going into that. But at the end of the day, you really do have to make the decision for yourself because it is your business. It's your income. And, you know, I know your income is contributing to your partner, but at the end of the day, like, you know, if you need support to hit your income goals, then you can invest in that support. You have to make the decision to invest in the support. And I also think about it like a job. Would you like ask your husband for budgeting decisions at your job?
That's a good
or wife or whoever, partner, right? Would you ask them for that, or would they ask you for that?
Yeah, no, that's a great analogy.
Yeah, so I think definitely like thinking about that, and I think thinking about like really like, you know, it is, if you're not using joint money, if you're using more business income and business money, then it really is sort of your decision to make.
Right. And so, you know, a lot of what I was solely focused on initially was income, like got to make more money, need to make significantly more money. How do I do that? Could you speak to maybe some other things that have nothing to do with money that you get out of the program that maybe we haven't mentioned so far?
Yeah, I mean, I think that definitely, obviously, income is always nice because it's just a tool that lets you to have the quality of life that you want. So whatever it is, right? But I think that one thing that you probably saw too, I mean, and you experienced too, because you were leaving other things that were like time costly and not income costly. But other people too, obviously, like we make sure that they are getting paid more for the work that they're putting in. And that's not about just raising your rates, which is like an easy answer to like make more money, but not always feasible. But, you know, I think that you definitely see members who are like working less, you know, cutting back their work hours and their income is not being affected. Like Suzanne, she launched 4 groups during that 6 months and got them up and running, which meant that she was really able to cut back on her one-to-one client time. You know, and we're still working together. And now she's kind of working on next level stuff. But, you know, by being able to clear out that time, she was able to really, you know, get things cleared up, and now is able to scale more and was able to do what she wanted, which was spend more time with her kids and family, you know?
Yeah.
So I would say definitely time back. And I would say also just kind of really being, I think like there's a lot of internal stuff that happens that is different for everyone, but you know, there's always like a lot more confidence happening. There's definitely like a lot less overthinking, a lot less stress or anxiety, a lot more, you know, there is uncomfortableness because you're doing things that are scary. And for anyone that's on, you know, or watching the replay, feel free to drop questions or comments below and we'll check them later. But, I think that is definitely something, there's definitely that confidence piece. There's definitely that, piece of just like really not being scattered anymore, like not wasting time researching, like actually being able to, even when things don't work out, which sometimes things don't work out, like knowing for sure, or knowing like, hey, I was spending so much time thinking I wanted that. I really didn't want that.
Right, right.
So
And
a lot of clarity that way.
yeah, a lot. Yeah, the time thing I think is huge for sure. And also, like, with that time that you're getting back, I feel like you have the chance to become more just present and aware, like of things that maybe you would have missed because you were so scattered or spread thin. And I just feel like I was better able to listen to my voice or my truth or my needs, like
Right.
as we moved deeper into it, because I was clearing out all this gunk and all this, not just time wasters, but like mental energy and emotional energy that I was putting into things that I didn't value.
Right.
And like just realizing that you don't have to kill yourself and work an insane amount of hours or dread where you go to pay your bills. Like it's,
Yeah. And I think there is too, like a lot of blind spots that people, like there was just stuff that you couldn't see, you know, when you were in it, you know, or just stuff that you're doing that seemed like it was really important to you, but like really was really like a waste of time. Like when you did start putting yourself out for more content, there was one day where you're like, well, I have to put different pictures on the wall. That's what I asked about your set being ready when we got started. And I was like, what do you mean? And you're like, well, I'm like on the roof. I'm like in the park trying to film.
oh my, I can't believe I forgot about that.
Trying to film my videos in different places. I was like, what?
I know. Yeah. So that's a plus there that you'll get. Nicole will be there to see those pools.
Right. Like I think there is like a lot of overcomplicating of not tasks that are important.
Totally. Yeah. But I think it's like part of this narrative that we're taught, or that we believe that it has to be really hard. I gotta sweat. It's gotta be a struggle. And I mean, sometimes I still am kind of like, is this dream about to end? Like I'm working from home 3 days a week. Like it's just like, can it be this? It's not easy, but like it doesn't have to be so stressful. And I think overcomplicating things, definitely big thing for me to learn. And having you point those things out over the course of 6 months, you know, I'm still able to catch myself going into that zone. Like, why are you spending so much time on the, you know, so those are huge takeaways for sure.
Right. And I think too, you know, one thing that I make my clients do, which I always dread a little bit, because if I was asked to do it, I'd want to like smack the person who did it. But like, you know, we do look at your time really closely.
Oh yeah, I hate that. That's something that was definitely one of those things that I was ducking you. I was like,
right. Like we do look very closely at people's time. And, you know, here's the deal. Like you are not the right client for me if you're not going to really be willing to like assess, you know, what could be done more easily. Because there really is no hiding with me, you know. I mean, I like threaten to like come to people's houses. I really, you know.
Oh man, yeah. But it's like the reality check that you get working with you. It's scary, it's uncomfortable, but it's necessary. I mean, you remember how crazy I was looking at the numbers, looking at the amount of time I spent on the phone with my mom and texting with friends. Like it was, I didn't want to accept that reality. And it's like, I'm getting in my way. I'm saying I have no time, but I'm starting my day doing all these things that don't feed in any way. What do I expect? I'm using my leftover energy for the stuff that you're telling me I need to do. You know, it just doesn't make sense. And
I would say if people want things to stay the same, then they should definitely
exactly. If we knew what we were doing, we wouldn't be reaching out to you. We wouldn't be following you. Like that's
right. If they want things to stay the same, then definitely don't sign up. If you want things to be different, you know what I mean, and different in many directions, you know, then definitely, you know, once again, go to NicoleLavoie.com/mastermind, check out the details, and book a call with me. And I do make people book a call first. Like, I do make people talk to me first because I want to make sure that we are on the same page with things and that it's a good fit, because it is going to be intense. I am going to be involved. Things will be better in 6 months, but there's definitely going to be times where you kind of hate me, maybe. And I'm okay with that because I want you at the end. It's not about me and my feelings. It's about, making sure that you are on track to achieve your business goals.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. You not being afraid to say no and to give the person the reasons why you're saying no. Because, me and maybe other people can relate to this. I'm a little ADHD. Like I'm all over the place. I always have a million ideas and I really struggle to like focus in, which is where you were so amazing at bringing me back to what we're focusing on and what the next step is. So when you're all over the place in that way, you need that support. You need someone to say, no, you don't need to spend time working on this blog. You haven't been doing XYZ and that's priority right now. And really sticking firm to that. Like you never bent. Like I was, and I was like, she's like not giving in on this. So am I going to just ignore it and do my own thing and keep getting the same results? Or
right. Yeah. So, at the end of the day, that really is the truth. Like if you want to get to a different level, you have to do things differently. If it was working, you wouldn't be seeking out help or looking at that. Right.
Yeah.
And not to say it hasn't worked or you're not doing okay. There's obviously people too who I'm working with that are making money, that are already having a profit, but like they still want bigger, and that's good, So I think that for sure, like there is constantly, it sucks, but like there is constant things that come up when you're choosing to up level, when you're choosing to say like, hey, I really do want things to be differently, I really do want things to be better. And, it's not always like just a straight out path to get there. But, I do feel that my strength is not kind of letting people off the hook for it.
Yeah, for sure. And doing it in a safe way. Like I want to emphasize that piece because it never felt like shame or,
right.
Like I said, military style earlier, which I was wondering before signing on. But, another great thing, Nicole, I think is that not only do you help keep people like stuck to their goals and and to the strategies that work, but like you also, at least my experience, my goals were not just met, like they were surpassed, and I got a glimpse of things that I didn't even know were within my reach, which is like amazing. Like I just was like, I just want to pay my rent on time. I want to pay off this credit card. Like I had these goals, but like you gave me this, like I could have a day where I just do nothing, which is like kind of amazing. Like, or I can not have plans on a Saturday and just wing it, and that's okay because my stuff is taken care of. Or that I can save exponential, just all these different things that I was like, maybe I'll get to that in the future, are at my fingertips now. It's just incredible. I've been saving aggressively. It's so exciting. I never would have thought that this was possible.
Right.
There's no way you could have told me this.
And I love when people like save money. That makes me so happy because I think that business is scary and we do need like a strong foundation. So it's always my goal to help you guys like achieve wealth too, not just like nice things, but
not just get by, right?
And and for you especially, I think, once again, you are in an expensive area, it is a high cost of living. So, for everybody out there, like, this isn't just like, hey, Jelisha actually secretly has someone supporting her behind the scenes. You know what I mean? And I think that's a lot of times what people think, like, you really had to make it work. Like, there was no other option.
Right. Yeah. Which is great for anyone in a similar situation where you don't have help or a spouse or
right, like you didn't have like this huge secret savings to pay for this. Like,
no.
We had to make the money as we went along. And I do take that very seriously because I've been in that position too. And even sometimes, like, when I'm looking back at investments I've made, it's like, how did I pull that off? Like, but like, I think that there definitely are people who need that financial investment to really stay focused and get results.
Yeah, for sure. so glad that I did that early on and didn't wait.
Well, after a year.
Yeah. Yeah.
After a year of reading my newsletters.
Yeah, I know. Okay. All right, Nicole. See, do you see what I mean? This is what I mean. She could have just
saying that because I hear that a lot. So for
you could have let that go, but
you read in 6 more months after 6 more months in newsletters, don't wait. Like, and I know, like, don't wait because, you know, if you had waited, right, like that would have been 6 months of like.
Exactly. Yes. No, for sure. That's such a great point though. So, I mean, and think about all the different things that we subscribe to and you just kind of like, you know, you don't open it. But like you were one, I would see your emails and I would always open them. Like if that's you and you've been following, working on the Facebook page, it's like, there's something there. I got so much out of your free material. So it was like, she has to be able to help me. It doesn't, you know?
Yes, I am the real deal. You know, I think that is the case. There's definitely like, no, you know, like I'm not saying it isn't hard work. It's definitely hard work. It's scary work, but it's just like, it really feels so amazing when you are hitting your goals.
Yeah, and surpassing them.
Mm-hmm. And surpassing them.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Couldn't have told me 10 times if you, yeah.
And it's grown since then too.
Yeah, no, it has. I mean, since ending, it's incredible. So.
Right. And I think like, you know, absolutely. And that's a good question. If you don't mind me asking you, I mean, you have sustained your growth, which I think is always what people are worried about, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You have sustained it. And, you know, ironically, like when your mastermind ended, it was the holiday season, which can always be crazy. You took time off, you still sustained it.
Yeah.
There was no like long-term damage. And are you utilizing the things that you learned in the mastermind still?
Oh my God, on a daily basis, literally. I have systems in place. I have a day where I'm doing my money stuff. Like it's yeah. So everything that I guess not everything, but I'd say like 80% of the things I go to on a weekly regular.
I mean, and that's what's good is you don't have to do everything.
Yeah. I mean, you give us those tools, we build the skills, you know, and you see the value of it. So yeah, those things have, I mean, there's no value like that. You know,
so it's continuing after for sure, which I think like that's my goal for people. I don't want it to be like, you have to be attached to me for your life of your business now. You know what I mean? Like, I want you to still, like, I'm not giving you things that only work with me. You know, I'm giving you things that will continue to work down the road as well.
Yeah. I had what did we end in November? Is that like, or something like that? Yeah, I had my highest month in December and January. I mean, it's just insane.
Right. It continues to have that impact.
Yeah.
You know, that there is a continuing ROI after the fact too.
Right. And also breaking those norms that I heard and believed for so long. You go through the slump in December or in the holidays, January is a slow, like all those things. And I was like, this is my highest, this is insane. And I took time off. Like it doesn't, like I beat those odds. That story's not true. So I'm literally so excited about the summer because I'm like, I'm going to kill it. Like I feel confident. Like I'm not listening to everybody who's freaking out about summer's going to be so slow. I'm not like, you know, so I've already beaten what I thought I could eat.
I mean, and I think that's the other benefit that we really didn't talk about with the mastermind or coaching even is like, you know, even in one-to-one coaching, like the one-to-one piece, you know, I'm holding you to a higher, different kind of thinking and really blowing up all the scare tactics and lack mindset that's out there. And then the second benefit with the mastermind is like you are surrounding yourself. Like what I kind of get frustrated with, I think, is that, you know, people who use like free Facebook groups and like it just like ask questions there and get so much bad advice. You know, and I think that when you're in a group where other people are investing, you're going to hold yourself to a higher standard. Because everybody there is holding themselves to a higher standard and is saying like, hey, I believe in my business dreams enough to make this scary, you know, and to make this investment. And you know, my prices aren't so insane. People don't freak out that it's all right on the sales page. But, you know, my prices aren't so insane, but any investment is scary. A big investment is scary. I totally get that. But, you know, when you're signing up in a group with other people who are paying that, you're all kind of saying like, I take this seriously. So you're also in that energy space with people who take it seriously too.
Totally. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So true.
Versus like free Facebook groups where I think a lot of people are like, I'll just do the free stuff like you. And it just isn't the same.
Mm-mm. No. Yeah, you're right about that. Getting bad advice or any advice.
Sometimes I see like the worst things. And it's just so sad. And you're just surrounded by negative people, a bunch of negative people too.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, with those lack mindset things like, oh, well, you won't be able to do that.
And I think like, honestly, for you, it wasn't even necessarily Facebook groups, but I think that you were connected to other business owners in real life that had a lot of lack mindset that was kind of impacting you.
Yeah, which I didn't even recognize it as a lack mindset. I just thought this is the way it is. It's
right.
Hard, it's tough. You gotta,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the other good piece is, it's definitely an opportunity to leave some of your old patterns behind.
Yeah, I think that's more of the work. It's not necessarily, I got to learn all these things that I don't know how to do. It's getting rid of the gunk. It's like letting go of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like doing less sometimes. Like I feel like that was a big thing, unlearning some stuff that's not working.
And I think that's really like the difference too between, working with me versus like signing up for a course. There is a different level of accountability and support. I could package the information and sell it, but it's like not the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally.
When you're kind of just working through content or whatever and trying to like follow through. I think that, there was a lot of stuff that came up for you or for other members of the group that really was personal. And like, as a result, I was able to tweak, the steps that I gave you.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah, it's definitely not like a one shot, okay, this is what we're doing, working with Nicole. Like it's very tailored person by person, which you totally get and feel immediately, which is so, which is really, really powerful.
And I want to ask you too, because I think one of the things that a lot of people question is like the time, right? So did you feel like it was this huge time like excess time commitment? Or was it more that, I think where the time feels different is that you're actually working on things, like not made up things or like not like things where like, once again, scrolling through stuff or, having phone calls or whatever, you know what I mean? So I think that, the time, I'm curious what you think, because I know what I think, but I'm curious what you think in terms of the time investment and things like that. Because there are group calls, there is calls with me if you do the higher level, so what do you feel? Do you feel it's a drain on your time?
No, I was a drain on my time. I don't think I ever felt like that. I would not use the word excess at all.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like the short answer. It's not excess. Right. It definitely wasn't. I mean, you realize early on, because you point that out, and I think you kind of start there. It felt like you were assessing, even on the call before I signed up. I remember you saying, we're gonna get you out of this job. Like you're talking about getting more. You need to get out of this job, and you were already like laying out steps and things that I needed. And I was like, oh my gosh. So right. I think once you realize how much time you may be wasting, and I think that's something that's even hard to admit.
Yes.
And I didn't think that I was wasting time. But once you learn that, you get all this time back. And so the time that you're putting into a call or working on something, it's probably not more than the time that you're wasting.
I agree with you there. And because we switch your time to more effective tasks.
Yes.
I think that, that it's probably made up there.
Yeah. Yeah, the prioritizing, like, I mean, you were very clear on, okay, what are the most important, what's contributing to this goal, and really breaking it down. So getting into the habit of, I'm not going to start with researching this because that's a passive. You always said I was passive. You said, Jelisha, that's a passive goal. Try again. That's all the time. And I was like, so now I literally will find myself like doing my goals for the week. And I'm like, oh, that's passive. Let me put that to the bottom. I'm like, yeah. So no, it's not. The time that you're wasting, you'll fill that in with things that are serving you so much more.
Right. Totally. So that's good to know, because I think that is always like a question people ask, like they're worried it's an extra responsibility or, an extra extra stuff that's not going to pay off.
No.
It's going to be more work. And I really do think like it's not more work. It's just that you're working differently.
Yes. Yeah, totally. That's it. That's exactly it. Yeah, you couldn't word it better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think that's the other piece too, that, you know, is what makes it, you know, what makes it different long term for people so that they're not wasting time. It is like just kind of different work. And listen, like that's, I think, where the piece that, you know, you're not going to necessarily like hide or slink under, which is good if you're the type of person that really wants results and wants growth quickly, because, you know, like I am going to be like, that's not going to be a helpful task. I mean, I will nicely call it passive, but which I don't think I have to get back to using that. Right. Like what's more passive, what's more active? Like, it's just like, how fast do you want results? You know, personally, I want all of you to get fast results, but it's not, you know, it is about, you know, what you're going to choose. I'm going to help push you towards some of the more active goals.
Right.
Active actions and active goals.
Yeah. So that was a big takeaway for me. Thanks.
Yes, for sure. So any other last questions you can think of that would be helpful for people? I'm trying to think of anything. I feel like we hit a lot of stuff.
No, I think we covered a lot.
Yeah. For those of you, once again, go check out the Mastermind, NicoleLeBlay.com/mastermind. If you're not sure about it, just book a call. No like hard sales push, honestly. You know, I want to make sure that you guys are in the right program, in the right fit or whatever, for where you want to be. But if you are looking to scale, if you are looking to either one, create a stronger foundation like Jelisha was, or to add in the new income streams on top of it and clean up your foundation, because there's always that, right? People who are further ahead sometimes do still have cracks in the foundation that, you know, I think that we do have to kind of clean up and fix before anything else goes in there. Because I think, you know, I think that's one thing about some of the other people who are further ahead than you. They started having more profits just from cleaning up stuff that they were currently doing.
Yeah.
Before even adding in more stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. So it speaks to the whole time thing too, right? Like we think that we need to add more to what we're doing.
Yeah, totally.
Really the case. Yeah.
So for you guys who are watching, definitely, you know, drop a comment. If you have any questions, drop a comment or drop your question. I will check back later. But in the meantime, definitely head to NicoleLeBlay.com/mastermind or click the link in the description. I'm looking forward to talking to you guys. Jelisha, thank you so much. And thank you, Jelisha, seriously, for all of us, because I'm sure you're going to have a really positive influence on some of the people who are watching, you know, whether it's with me or someone else, like, you know, invest in yourself, right? And you don't have to figure it out alone. And, you know, I truly appreciate you being so open and honest about some of the things that you had to change, some of the things that were holding you back, because I'm sure it's really common to a lot of other people. As you saw, being part of the group, we're all struggling with the same stuff. It just shows up a little differently for all of us.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Thank you for having me, Nicole.
No problem. All right, everyone. I look